Hello.
Oh, we are back. I once again to do the next episode of a conversation with Kely.
The
Uh,
last
we're,
two.
yes, I guess when we talk about Survivor 44, we just talk about it in small doses. We don't do individual episode reviews. We just do 2 episodes and call it a day.
I mean,
But
we're trying to do like one episode, of course. It's just we just
yeah.
get really busy, so we end up having to do two.
I mean,
But
yeah, when one of you works 10-hour shifts all weekend and the other one is like having to go to work at like fucking 6 in the morning, it can be a lot. It can be a bit of an adjustment. I'm
I
not gonna
know.
lie. And it can be hard to find time to fit stuff in. But you know what? We're here now. That's what's important. But of course, as always, I am here with my lovely and beautiful co-host Allie. How are you doing today?
I am great. I've had a pretty chill day. I just went out for a little bit with my mom and my stepdad. Well, we had to go pick up my mom's car. Well, they both share cars, really, but we just had to pick up the SUV from the shop because they were just getting like the other tires. And then went to the bank and put a little bit of my tips in. And then we just went to like Rexall and stuff for a bit and then came home and went for a walk with Magoo. Other than that, I just kind of chilled.
Yeah, I worked all day, aside from, well, not all day, but I worked most of the day. And then I saw and then I did something I never do. I go to the movie theater. Oh my God. Isn't that crazy? I've never been there before. But I went to the movies. And I saw A Good Person, which was really good. Oh my God, what a terrible pun! We gotta save this podcast immediately from such a terrible pun because Kevin will not stop. No, in all seriousness,
That pun was actually great.
What?
We love dad jokes.
Sure. I appreciate you complimenting my terrible humor. It does not change the fact that it is still fucking terrible. But with that said, we are here to talk about something that's not fucking terrible. We're going to talk about the 2 episodes of Survivor 44. Before we get into it, I want to hear your general opinion on these 2 episodes because I've actually seen a lot of discourse surrounding this season. Some people seem to really like it. Some people think it's a little too much. And as somebody who's watched a lot more Survivor than me, what is your take on these 2 episodes?
Honestly, like these episodes are honestly.
Hi, Jason.
Oh, hey, Jason. We love you.
Yes, we love you.
I'm very happy we're watching this. I hope you and everyone enjoy. Yeah. But anyways, okay. So
also, everybody play Amethyst. It's Jason's game if you're interested.
Yes.
So.
Oh yeah, play his game. Great host.
Oh
yeah. And great person. Anyway, honestly, I really like these episodes. Spoilers, obviously, won't get into who's eliminated, but I mean, the boot order is not the strongest, not the best, but overall, I think this is a great cast, and they're just like everyone is pretty entertaining. Some people we don't really get a lot of yet, but I love the cast, and they also like I have like a connection with these people, and besides like because last season there was not that many that we loved. This season actually has like a very strong and iconic cast. And I hope we get to see more of certain people too, because besides the boot order, I think it's really fun.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, I feel like I'm on kind of an island when it comes to this season so far because I see a lot of people on like Twitter and like even Serialized and things like that. A lot of different things circulating. Like there's too much happening this season. There's too many advantages being given out. It's hard to tell what's happening. And I'm just sitting here like, I like this. Like, I think this is the right amount of chaos. I think this is the right amount of fun. And I think we've gotten enough, at least for me, like with this cast so far, that I don't feel like it's wasting the cast in any way. I feel like I know a lot more about these people than I do than the 43 people. I feel like the 43 people, they spent way too much time on like these like sob stories and things like that. We didn't really get a chance to get to see like their gameplay. And this season, while we still have those moments where like, we hear these personal stories, which are always good. Like it's good to hear those. I just think there was like an overabundance of it last season. I think they've found the right balance to where it's not like overtaking the show in any way. So yeah, I mean, I would say so far, I'm really loving the season a lot. I like the tension that it's building.
Oh yeah.
And I think what they've been doing, and I've said this, and here's my thing, like shows need to evolve. And especially when you're in as long as Survivor has, you have to find like new ideas to keep things fresh and original. And I feel like they're doing a good job with that. So I personally don't have a complaint. Again, keep in mind, I've only seen 3 full seasons of this show. So maybe my opinion isn't going to be as fair as like people who have watched for a long time. But as somebody who's only watched a couple seasons, I'm really loving this season a lot, and I don't really have too many complaints. But without further ado, we are going to go ahead and dive right into all the craziness going on, talking about episode 3 here, which what an episode to talk about. There's a lot that goes down.
I know, it's insane
in this episode for sure. We're going to start off with Tika here, which we start off, and Carson says that he liked Helen, but he didn't.
I will say, shout out to a Tika from my work. It's just because whenever they say Tika tribe, I think of Atika.
I think of the chicken tikka masala soup that's at my work, which is chicken curry.
And also Ratu is like, there's a coworker of mine named Ratul, and that's literally just like taking off one letter of Ratu, which is just really funny to me.
I guess this whole season is revolved around Ali's coworkers, and we just they don't even know it. Like the whole season is about.
Well, besides Sokka.
Yeah, I maybe you can find a parallel to Sokka.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyways,
I don't know. You just haven't found it yet, and then we'll see what the merge name is. Maybe who knows? Yeah. Maybe the merge name is like Cascades or something.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, now I'll be giving out the location of your casino. Anyway,
not the doxing.
We're not gonna do that. Anyway.
No.
Moving on. Carson says that he liked Helen, but didn't trust her. He was so terrified, but excited to pull off a blindside, and seeing her leave was very relieving, and he had no idea he had anything to do with it. He just tapped into his crazy side. He loves working with Jam Jam and Carolyn, but he needs to smooth things over with Sarah, so he's not in a situation where she thinks he is the strategic mastermind. And I thought this was definitely like the right move. Like he recognizes like, yeah, I wanted to work with these two, but I also need to like get on good terms with Sarah. Again, I think Carson is like perfectly playing the middle at this point. That's where I would position him right now.
Yeah, it seems like Twitter is very iffy with him, but I actually really enjoy him.
Yeah, I mean, no, he hasn't done a ton yet aside from this move, but it also is only episode 4. And I think given what we've seen of Carson so far, I think he's playing a really good game.
This is episode 3.
No, I'm saying we're only 4 episodes into the season.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like given what we've seen so far, like I think he's definitely like starting things out pretty well. So I've been impressed by Carson so far.
Me too.
So Sarah claims that her and Helen weren't as tight as people thought, and she's not upset with this, but in reality feels a ton of distrust towards everyone in her tribe. Understandably, she's kind of on an island right now, having lost Helen, which is unfortunate.
I know.
But we see Carson talks to her, and she sees him now as the most dangerous player, especially since everyone trusts him. So she is very much like wanting him out, like as soon as possible, pretty much. Carolyn is very happy that she put her trust where she did. And then she also made it through with her idol intact and playing it with 2 different shoes. And I'm going to say it again, like, if somebody this season does not just do like a compilation of all the things Carolyn has said, it's going to be a huge missed opportunity because she literally has so many quotable lines every single episode. And this is just one of them.
I know.
Like I could literally watch an entire episode that was just her. I wouldn't even care.
So
like the edit that Zach is the hyper focus that Zach is getting in BB Can, give that to Carolyn because she is the season so far for me. Like she is everything.
Oh yeah. Oh, speaking of BB Can, the recent week we're going to be covering soon.
Yes. Whenever I get the chance to watch all the episodes, because that's all we have. We don't have anything else to go off of. But anyway, there's a whole other different discussion. So we see a segment about Jam Jam's constant snoring, which is really annoying Carolyn, and she jokingly talks about it at camp. Again, even stuff like this I thought was like funny to watch because it was Carolyn talking about it. So I enjoyed that.
They're like a very like They're a duo, but he also gets annoyed with her.
Yeah. Sarah takes the time to talk to Carson. He says that he wants them to go far and not to have to worry about tribal. She feels they're going at least once in the next 3 rounds. She's hoping that the next challenge can cater to their skills and that she's clearly at the bottom of a very small group. So unless a miracle happens, she will be the one to go. And at this point, I wasn't feeling great about Sarah. I was like, fuck, Sarah might be in a bad spot here and
I
there's not a lot of
know.
wiggle room.
I was like getting really like I was honestly very impressed by her the first few episodes because like
Yeah.
just like she honestly
Mhm.
surprised me.
Yeah, and I will say there's something that happens in the next episode that I think very much would have benefited her. And it's just kind of
Mhm.
unfortunate that like that didn't happen. Cause I feel like this is like someone who's like in desperation of like a swap or something like that.
Yeah,
So it just kind of sucks that like, well, we'll talk about it. But yeah, this wasn't looking good for Sarah at this point. Um,
I
but
know.
yeah, that's everything we get with Tika really in this episode. Not a big episode for Tika. Not really the most thematic stuff. A
All
lot of
right.
what we get in this episode comes down to the next tribe, which Ali's going to talk about in Row 2.
All right. Going heading over to Ratu. Kane is singing "O Canada" to the rest of his tribe, which I thought was pretty funny. Like he was just bopping to "O Canada" and everything. It was pretty iconic. He is very happy to have gotten the sword from the last challenge and talks about how big of a fan he is of fantasy and D&D, and he loves the hero story. 5 nights just up against anything that you can throw at them, and he's hoping that's what happens out here, and he can be a hero to people.
Yeah. And
I
I
also,
think
you know
that
what? I will say, if like Carson and Kane, I can see those two kind of like
mhm.
aligning, kind of.
Yeah, and I mean we'll talk about that in a little bit, but that might be something that could potentially be happening on that tribe. I do think that aside from Brandon coming after him, Kane is not in the worst spot, but I will be honest in saying I don't think we've gotten enough content from Kane
Yeah.
to where I think that Kane is going to go that far in this game. I just don't really get that vibe from him. I think the most he's going to get is like an early, like I think if he goes to merge, it's going to be very early. So
Yeah.
yeah,
We'll see. Brandon says he has never should away. She? What does that say?
shied away.
Oh, Brandon says he has never shied away.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was just the spelling. Shied away from anything difficult before it molds who you are. And Braid's character and the things worth doing in life are hard to accomplish, but growth is his comfort zone. He talks about playing for the Seahawks in 2015 to 18, and as an athlete, people think that's all he knows is football and often gets put into a box, but there is so much more to him than that. He considers himself a Renaissance man. He's a pilot, he plays piano and drums, magic tricks, snowboards, scuba dives, loves to cook, and does a bit of everything. And he learned that from his parents, forcing him to never quit, whether he liked it or not, and that's something you have to do in this game to be willing to take chances.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
really
for
like
sure.
I really like Brandon.
I like Brandon a lot too. I think I like this is like the kind of stuff I like to see. Like I think this is like I said, I've complained a bit recently about how they've been doing too much like personal stuff, but like this I like seeing. It gives us insight into Brandon and showing like how multifaceted he is. Like he has a lot of different skills, and I think that's going to work out very well for him.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, we haven't really been seeing a lot of him in the show recently, so I don't really know what that says about Brandon, but I do think this was a good moment for him.
Yeah. Lauren talks about how much Jamie is always on a high at all times, which kind of boosts morale for them. Morale for them, and helps her prove to herself and her students that she can take on any challenge and overcome it. We see them all then take place in eating raw worms. Would you eat raw worms?
Probably not. No.
Me neither. Jamie always knew she would love this experience because she loves being outside and being creative with things, and she feels she was born for Survivor. She also feels very good with Matthew, with them connecting with plants and nature. They are known as the plant lady and the plant daddy, and they are always hunting for firewood, coconuts, and worms.
Yeah, this was interesting dynamic with like
It
Jamie and
was.
Matthew. I didn't even know this was really like a thing that was brewing, but I
Yeah.
liked what we saw of them. What do you think of Jamie so far?
I don't mind her. Like, she's definitely not my favorite. Like, I don't like dislike her or anything. Cause like, obviously remember preseason, we both
You're
kind of
pretty low
didn't,
on her, yeah.
yeah, we didn't really have like high expectations for her.
Mhm.
Shout out to the movie High Expectations with Ally Brooke.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Movie I've
I
definitely seen.
honestly like I'm enjoying her. She's very entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't know how far she's gonna make it. But as of
I've
right now,
seen people say this on Twitter, and I would agree. I feel like she's like Carolyn, but not as heightened. Like Carolyn's a little bit more heightened. Jamie's
yeah,
still pretty cracked, but not in the way that like Carolyn is. Like
yeah, I agree.
she's very energetic. She's this very big personality, but she's deeply naive of like where she is in this game, and I think that's going to hurt her,
She is,
especially with what
yeah.
happens next.
Honestly, right now, I kind of see her being like a merge boot.
Yeah, honestly, I could really see that because we've already seen. Because here's the thing: the only time we've seen Jamie go to tribal, she made like a really stupid move that she didn't have to make.
I know.
So I do feel like Jamie is going to potentially like once we get to merge, like she wants to make a really big move. She wants to get somebody out. She doesn't really think through like what really needs to happen to get this person out, and she ends up going as a result. Like I could very well see that happening to Jamie
Yeah.
because she's very in over her head right now.
Oh yeah, she definitely is. While hunting, Jamie then finds the new idol, and that has been hidden within their tribe.
However,
Matthew, however, talks about that while she thinks she has it, he actually found it and did so 2 days ago prior, and he decided to make a fake immunity idol he's never intended to play. Honestly, and will do whatever he can to win. He is happy to be working with her and did this to gain trust, but if it's not there, he can then move it around and
you
put
can
a
turn
target on
around.
and then put a target on her back.
Yeah, this was crazy the way they revealed
It
this.
was.
Because I was convinced too that she had the idol, and then he's like, yeah, no, I have the idol. I was like, what? Like that was
I
so
think that
nonchalant the way they did it.
it was crazy. I think Matthew's definitely in the best position on his tribe.
Oh, for sure. He knows the most. He has the most on. He has the most allies on his side. He built that bond with Brandon. He's really good with Jamie now. They have like this duo of sorts.
Yeah.
Somebody else that potentially joins the tribe he also could have striked up a bond with, but we're not going to talk about that yet because that's the next episode. But yeah, for sure he is in the best position, and I would be very shocked. Like it would take a lot to get him out at this point.
Oh yeah,
He's
definitely.
very powerful.
I
We
think
don't
that
really know of his bonding with Kane. I will say, like, we don't really know where
yeah.
their like
I don't
relationship.
know. I kind of see him also getting like swap fucked.
I do think he's very much benefited by his tribe, and
Yeah,
I think other people like see through what he's doing. But right now, like I think he's in a really good spot.
I think
So,
so too.
all right, so we're gonna talk about Sokka next. We see that or Sokka, Franny and Matt are discussing going on a road trip together after the season. Everyone else in the tribe isn't quite sure how to feel about them, liking how cute they are together, but unsure if it is something that will help them. These two are really going for it when it comes to this showmance. They're just kind of doubling down, even though they were warned in the last episode. It's not stopping them. They're just going for it. And what do you think? Do you think this is helping them, hurting them?
I mean, obviously I won't go into spoilers, but like what happens interesting.
Yeah,
But like but I will say they're not in the best spot because they're definitely, if they go to tribal, one of them is probably gone.
they are the biggest fucking question mark for me on this season right
Same.
now because a part of
Same.
me sees a scenario where it's like, oh, I like Franny and Matt. I want to work with them.
Oh,
And then
I
they're
like
working
them too. I
and then
just
they're
think
working. No.
yeah.
I'm saying like I see a scenario where everyone on their like people on their tribe are like, oh, I like Franny and Matt. I want to work with them. And then, they kind of have like those people in their back pocket. But then this cast is incredibly messy so far. And I could very well see them comparing notes. And I feel like that's all it takes to get one of them out. So
I will say
and right now, I think Matt would go for sure. Franny is in a much better spot.
yeah, I mean it's hard to say because like right now I feel like the best position on that tribe is Danny.
Yeah, and we'll talk about why.
But
Not even like
with
up for
with
debate, I feel like.
with Franny and Matt, like I either see people using them as shields or
Mhm.
they would just like target them very soon.
Yeah, I could see that too.
I love them. I just don't see them going super far.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, there's always a possibility that they could turn things around, but right now, I do see that happening. But again, I could also see a scenario where it's like, no, I like Franny and Matt, and then they're in a really good spot. So I don't know. I don't know where they are right now, but we'll see.
We'll
Um,
see.
Danny says it's very obvious that Matt and
Why,
Franny.
you missed the first part.
Oh, Claire says that they're like two nerdy people who like to nerd out and can giggle about Star Wars and being nerds in high school, but that it's a huge liability for four other people on the tribe to be looking and saying that those two are a duo. So Claire is easily like the most like wary of them. It's very obvious to like it seems like want to work with Franny, but like doesn't really want to work with Matt as well because she knows that like those two are super close together. And I like the way. Oh, did I freeze or did you freeze?
I think it was you.
Oh, well, anyway, I was saying like I like that Claire is.
Because I just refreshed Twitter and it worked for me.
Oh, that's weird. I don't know what happened. Anyway, okay, so.
Good.
Where was I? Okay, so Danny says that it's very obvious that Matt and Franny are a duo, which he says is a beautiful thing, and he wants to keep as little eyes on him as possible because of his idol. So he literally eats the note that said this, and this is insane to me what he does here. He literally eats the note that said the silver coin and no power, and he wrapped up the fake idol in the letter that says that he has an idol. So basically, he's going to try to trick somebody into getting the idol. So he's very nervous and he doesn't want to get caught going back to the bird cage. So he walks over to the cage while everyone else is trying to find food, and he puts the bag back as quickly as he can to make it seem like it has been untouched. And he's now rehidden the key, so no one thinks anything of it. Yeah, this was very interesting. What he did here. I would definitely not have thought of literally eating a note, but I mean, it's definitely good strategy. I feel like I will say. This birdcage twist, I do feel like people are already gaming very hard, so I don't feel like they'll be able to ever do this again, but it is very exciting to see how people are handling it.
Oh, yeah.
But I do feel like this is a one and done. Like, I don't think this will ever come back because I feel like it's already very easy to game, but I did think it was interesting what Danny did here. So Heidi talks about how much they are scrambling looking for the key to the bird cage and is unsure what they are missing, so she's hoping it comes to her before someone else finds it. Danny is glad to see that they are not good lookers, but is baffled because he put it in the most obvious spot. So Matt finds the key kind of out of nowhere, and he opens the cage and finds the note and freaks out, thinking, oh my God, I have an idol, but little does he know, it's a fake idol.
So many people with fake idols.
I know. So Danny then pulls him aside, asks him what he put in his pocket. Matt says that he didn't find anything, but that once Josh leaves, he tells him the truth. He then tells Josh the truth as well. Josh is very happy to hear about this, and we actually get content from Josh in this episode, which was great. I was like, oh my God, Josh, we haven't seen him in like the whole season, and now we finally get to see him. Granted, it's only 3 episodes, but still, like, Josh has not been a major character, and he very much starts to be one, I think, in this episode. So yeah, he's happy to hear about this. He feels that with this, he and Franny are no longer easy targets and that this absolutely changes things. Franny is very worried that the worst people know about it now. I don't think Matt handled this very well. I think that when it comes down to an idol like this, there's only one person that should know, and that person is Franny. Like, literally, that's the only person he should have told. I understand why he felt trust with Danny, because Danny was there and he didn't want to like bullshit both him and Josh, and he trusted Danny more. But the problem is, like, it gets right back to Josh, and now Josh knows about it too. I just don't think Matt handled this well at all. Like, I think he could have easily just kept this between him and Franny, and I think it would have gone a lot better for him.
Oh, I agree. Like, he's just, I feel like he's definitely one of the next to go if they go to tribal.
Yeah, I think so too. So Danny's very excited to see that his plan has worked, and everyone thinks that Matt has the idol, and this kind of puts Danny like firmly in the best position on this tribe. Like, nobody is coming for Danny anytime soon, and I do think it is very impressive how
Danny's so iconic.
Yeah, it is very impressive how he was able to hide the idol so easily. So yeah, that's everything going on with that tribe, at least for now. With that said, we're going to talk a little bit about the immunity challenge here.
All right. They're going to dive into the ocean and swim to a large cube. Working together, they're going to roll that cube to 2 large poles and collecting keys along the way. Once they have their keys, they'll dig under a log and unlock their puzzle platform, where they will stock 4 colored blocks, making sure there are no repeating colors on any side. And they're also playing for reward, which is a survivor toolkit and a fruit platter. Once again, for a sit out, Claire decides to sit out for her tribe as well as Heidi. Jeff tells Claire she has yet to compete in an immunity challenge this season and asks if she's all right with that. She says, yeah, as long as they get to the next immunity challenge, maybe
she joins like a very small club of people who have like never played an immunity challenge before. It's not just, I think there's like one other person that hasn't, which is very interesting.
Yeah. She says, yeah, as long as they get to the next immunity challenge, maybe she'll compete then. And Lauren also sits out for Ratu.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, Ratu wins immunity, with Tika following suit, sending Sokka to tribal.
Which I was surprised about. I thought it was going to be, I thought we were just going to see Tika go back again. But no, we do get to see Sokka. And the thing I like about this, I always say this, I like when we get to see all 3 tribes go to tribal at least once. It's not like the same, like, continuous the tribe over and over again, because that gets boring to me. I like seeing different tribe dynamics and things like that. Not so happy about the results, but you know, we'll get into that. So I'm gonna read what happens on the tribe pre-tribal, and you will read what happens during the tribal.
Okay.
So basically we get to see here we get to see that it starts off with Matt. He's very worried because of him losing his vote, and he plans to play his idol if he needs to in an effort to save both him and Franny, which, literally Matt does not have a vote right now, so that's not great.
He has 2 no votes.
Yeah, he has no power right now on his tribe. So Danny asks if anyone thought that they could have done better, and Claire brings up how they all killed it while she sat on the bench, immediately like drawing attention to this and like really, really making a big deal that like she sat out. And Danny talks to Josh and says that Heidi and Franny are both very athletic, and he brings up Claire and how though he loves her, there is a camaraderie that has been formed, and she simply hasn't contributed enough. And he says that the plan is going to be to vote her out and tell her to put her vote on Matt since she didn't have a vote. And I don't know. I didn't really understand this logic. It's like, it's so early into the season and things like that. Are we really going to be concerned about tribe strength from the person that hasn't even gotten to compete in a tribe? Like, granted, she sat out.
I feel like that was her strategy, but like they should just like leave her alone at least for a couple rounds.
Well, I think she was doing it because like she knew, because it's always tough to like be the one to sit out. Because I mean, I'll be honest, when I've played like Survivor orgs before and someone's needed to sit out, I haven't wanted to be the one to sit out because they could easily just go for me because I didn't participate in the challenge. So I think Claire saw it as like, I know this is difficult for people. I want to take on, this burden and, sit out and things like that. But unfortunately now it's biting her in the ass. But I don't necessarily think this is her fault for doing this. I think that if they really had a problem with her sitting out, they should have told her, don't sit out of this one. And I think she probably, this could have gone better. So we see Danny then, Josh says that he wanted Matt or Franny to go, but he has to do what is in his tribe's best interest and not rock the boat here. What do you think of Josh so far? We get a lot more of him in this episode.
I mean, I get what he means, but he just needs to like be careful. Because I mean, he thinks he's in this like great spot. But he just has to be careful with what he says. Like, just kind of like just chill and just kind of just like go with majority from at the start.
He is by far one of the most fluid players on this cast, and I feel like we need somebody like that in this kind of season. And I think that because of that, I actually do think he has a lot of potential, which I'm happy about because I drafted him, not just because I drafted him and I liked him preseason, but I really like the way he's playing right now. I don't know how far he's going to get, but I feel like as long as he's around, it's going to be exciting to watch.
Yeah.
Because Josh is not somebody who likes to go with majority. He kind of wants to do his own thing, and I think that's exciting to watch. So, Claire then tries to persuade Franny to vote out Matt, and Franny says that while she does want to work with her, she wants to keep Matt in as well and wants to try to put the vote onto Josh because of how unpredictable that he really is. She finds him incredibly cagey and is hoping that her, Matt, Claire, and Heidi can all get on the same page. I thought this made perfect sense. Josh is not, somebody that they trust. They all kind of have that distrust towards him. So why not go ahead and just blindside him here? I thought in theory, this plan made a lot of sense. And I think this honestly was Claire's biggest mistake. I don't think she should have pushed for Franny to vote out Matt. I think she should have been the one to push the idea that, like, let's just go for Josh. Like, I think that's the right move here. Because I think
I had so much potential for Claire. Like,
yeah.
I don't know why she did that.
Yeah, because I think that in the long run is what did end up hurting her. I think if she had just said, like, right out, like, hey, let's just go for Josh, I think that's something that Matt and Franny would have been on board with. Because Matt then tells Claire that Danny and Josh want to vote her out, and she's very annoyed and wants Josh out as soon as possible, but sees Danny as brainless and not a threat, which, again, very impressive by Danny, who is probably the biggest threat on the tribe, but nobody sees him as a threat. Hiding in plain sight. I fucking hate to say the fucking quote that Gabler did, but that's literally what he's doing. And
not Gabler.
Someone's gonna get Gablered, I guess, and we'll see who it is.
Gabler is problematic.
Very much so. But
we don't stand him.
No, we do not. So she brings up Matt and Franny, how much she needs the two of them to get on board with the vote. And she talks to Heidi, who's very unsure of where the votes are going. And Heidi then tells Danny what's going on because apparently she sees him as her number one, which I will say, I feel like Heidi is kind of getting the short end of the stick in the edit right now. We don't see her enough. So when
Heidi and Josh were like the purple ones a lot.
Yeah, it's very jarring when she's saying this because we haven't really gotten to see them bonding at all. But apparently they're like, she sees him as her number one, and she's like very torn because her relation with Josh isn't great, while Claire she's more aligned with, but it may cost the tribe where they're constantly staying out of challenges, and knows that this will be a cutthroat vote that will be best for her. I feel like this wasn't as hard as Heidi thought it was. I feel like voting for Josh makes more sense than voting for Claire, especially if you feel better with Claire than with Josh, and especially if there's like a consensus, like, because there is a consensus here. Like, you have Claire, you have Matt, you have Franny, that's 4 right there. You can just unite against Danny and Josh, and suddenly they're not in like the best spot. And I think that would have honestly worked out better in the long run, but that's not what ends up happening here. Let's talk about the tribal and how this all goes down. It's kind of a spicy tribal, so let's talk about it.
All right. Jeff asks Josh if he felt the tension back at camp, and he said everyone could tell where Tribal was looking, and then people were starting to scramble and go off on their own, and they weren't used to it.
Yeah.
Claire smiles and says this is not the first day anyone was playing, and they have all been figuring things out for a while.
I love how just Claire holds nothing back at this tribal. Like,
I think it's so good.
You guys are bullshitting. I'm not here for it. Let's be honest. We've all been playing this game. Let's not pretend we haven't. And I love the fact that she was just like,
I know what you're doing.
Yeah, let's just get it all out in the open. Like, there's no reason to hide anything. Like,
I know.
Hell yes. We love the we love the transparency.
Oh, I know. I love her so much. Franny agrees and says they can all pretend they've all been a big, happy family, but none of them forget why they're here and what they have to do, which is true. They're all playing a game.
Oh, yeah.
Heidi feels it could be anybody and they would be foolish to not cycle through all the options.
Yeah, which they would.
So, Matt says he has played through so many scenarios of who he can and can't trust, and they're all walking in that same balance.
Yeah.
Jeff asks about Claire constantly sitting out, and she says she is very concerned because she loves playing, but every time she has swallowed her pride because she was putting the team before herself, and in that moment she trusted all of them, and it upsets her because people are valuing tribe strength when they didn't even give her a chance to show what she's made of.
Yeah, and again, I just love the fact that Claire is just like calling everyone out. Like, I don't like the way this is happening. This doesn't make sense. And she's right. I don't think that this makes sense this early on in the game. Like, yes, I do think tribe strength is important, but I feel like that goes more for someone who's like not connecting with people on the tribe, not someone who is sitting out of challenges basically to take on a burden that other people don't want to. Like, I don't think it's a reasoning to send somebody out.
Oh, no, not at all. Danny says there are concerns Danny says their concerns are accurate, but she says brutal force is not tribe strength, and it should be based on trusting and working together and not doing anything to harm Sokka from making it far further into the game, which Heidi also agrees with.
Yeah, which again, brute force should not be the end all be all when it comes to tribe strength. Like, there's definitely other things that are more important. I'm glad that Claire took that into account here.
Yeah, exactly. Franny says that Claire would have probably killed, and it is any challenge she was in. Franny says that Claire would have probably killed any challenge she was in, so it's a lot more complicated than that. And they all have to realize this vote is a much longer game than just tonight.
Yeah. I mean, you could say that about literally any vote.
Claire's still looking very concerned, and she asked Heidi if she thought through what they talked about, and she says she thinks so. She says she is still figuring it out, which Jeff says is a tough time to do so.
Yeah, which I thought was really funny, where he was like, if you're still figuring it out, I don't think now's a good time.
I know.
But let's get to the vote here.
All right. Before the votes are read, Claire decides to play her shot in the dark, but it is not safe, which I was so sad because I wish it was safe, just like Jamie's.
Oh, that would have been so good if that happened. But I
assume who would go, Matt?
No, probably Josh.
Oh no, Josh, yeah. One of the two.
Josh definitely would have gone.
Probably. One of the two.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this proves to be a death sentence, as by a vote of 4-1, she is the next person voted out.
Yeah, which was very unfortunate to see. I feel like Claire had so much potential, and I do think, unfortunately, her sitting out was her downfall, but I don't really blame her for that. I think that there is good reason why she decided to do that, and her tribe just kind of decided to turn on her, when I think, again, what's more important in tribes is like the bonds that you form, but for some reason the tribe valued comp and physicality more than social game, which is always more important at the end of the day. Like, the comps do not matter unless you're winning individual immunity. Like, it just doesn't matter as much as this tribe is making it seem. And it was very frustrating to watch.
I know, like, I loved her so much since like preseason. I had like high hopes for her. She wasn't like one of my winner picks, like number one winner picks, but she was definitely high up there, and I had a feeling she would at least make it really far. But
yeah,
it just makes me really sad that she left here.
I think the fact
but she will kill it. She'll kill it next time.
I do think the fact that Matt didn't have a vote and then Claire played her shot in the dark, I mean, that's pretty much what fucked her. Because as long as Matt and Claire voted, were on the same page, and then Height and then Franny also was. I think they really could have made something.
Was it about 4-1 or was it 3-1? Because there was.
It was actually 4-0.
Because wait, Claire doesn't get a vote with her shot in the dark, right?
Yeah, I forgot that there wasn't a vote, so it was 4-0 actually.
And then obviously Matt didn't have a vote.
Yeah, they all voted
so
Claire.
It was just Danny, Franny, and Heidi.
Yep.
So it was 3-0.
Yeah. No, 4-0. Danny, Franny, Heidi, Josh.
Oh, yeah. So wait, there were 6 people?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Danny, Franny, Heidi, Josh, Nat, and Claire.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Claire says she got outplayed. She says she's so sad, but this experience has been everything. Since she's the biggest fan and it's been her dream forever, she's been so afraid to come out there because of this exact situation, but she's glad she took the chance, and it was an amazing experience, and she just wishes she got to see more.
Yeah, I felt really bad for Claire here. I feel like she had so much potential in this game. And like, yeah, I think this boot orders kind of sucked, but I feel like the other ones, at least I can kind of understand why they went when they did. Maddie was literally just because the one person that voted for her was like the worst person that, like, the one person that had a vote was the worst person that could have had a vote for her. Was the worst case scenario. Helen, again, I still don't get. Like, I don't get why Helen was voted out. They didn't explain it very well. Claire's, I legitimately just don't think was very fair. I think that they really should have focused on like long term, and I feel like this was a very short-sighted move. Like, this was more of like, what can we do as a tribe to get us forward? And yes, the tribe is important, but your individual game is also important. And I feel like for like Franny and Heidi especially, this is a really bad move, and I do think it is eventually going to cost them.
I feel like they are honestly. I mean, Franny could go soon, but I also feel like Matt's probably in. But
I think honestly, Franny's not in a terrible spot. She seems to be very like she seems to be kind of like talking to everyone, like making the rounds that she needs to. I worry more for Heidi because Heidi thinks that she's like really close with Danny, but I feel like everybody kind of has that relationship with Danny. So I don't really know. I don't really know.
Danny, I feel like Danny, the best position on each tribe right now after this episode, Danny, Matthew, and from the other tribe,
probably Jam Jam.
Yeah, Jam Jam.
Yeah. So yeah, that's everything with episode 3. Let's talk about episode 4, which is a very different kind of episode of Survivor.
I will also say all like Claire, Maddie, and Bruce and Helen, they're all going to kill it next time. Just bring the whole cast back.
I think Claire and Bruce probably deserve it the most. I would love to see Maddie and Helen back, but I feel like those two especially like definitely should get a chance back. I mean, we already know they basically said Bruce is like confirmed to come back, but Claire definitely I think deserves a second chance.
Oh yeah, I agree. All right. Heading over to episode 4.
Yes.
It starts with Sokka, and I'm dead at this typo. You put Fratty instead of Franny.
Oh no! I put that because Matt and Franny.
Oh, I don't know why I thought it was just you spelling Franny.
No, that's their ship. That's their ship name.
Is it? Because did people actually come up with their ship name?
I don't know. I just think Fratty sounds better than like Mrat.
Manny.
No, yeah, I just feel like
Frat,
Fratty
or just Frat.
I like Fratty. I feel like it just has a ring to it.
Actually, Fratty's cute. Yeah.
Yeah. Like what is Marani? No.
All right. Josh says he's in the middle of 2 alliances, Fratty and Heidi and Danny, and therefore should be in the best position. But his tribe is trying to blindside him as everyone sees him as a big threat at merge, with the rest of the tribe being united.
Yeah, not looking good for Josh in the start of this episode. But
also, that's literally all we get from Sokka.
Yeah, that's literally it. Well, at least for right now, that's all we get, which is understandable because this is a very busy episode of Survivor. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
But basically with Tika, everyone wakes up, and this was really interesting. They realized there have been 2 red sticks woven into the bird cage, and nobody knows what actually happened. We find out very quickly this was Carolyn's doing, and she set this up as stuffing a fake idol in a log that was also in the same bag as the idol. So she knew she needed to do something with it, and she's worried it looks so fake, but doesn't think it's so unbelievable because there are so many twists going on. Jam Jam's like very paranoid about this, and Sarah is trying to figure out what this X might actually mean. And she then ends up finding 2 sticks that are identical to the X that has been created, which I was really worried for Carolyn here when this happened. I was like, oh my God, she's going to recover. And during this, she also finds a piece of purple cloth with a bow, seemingly finds the fake hidden immunity idol. I say seemingly because the one thing I will say about this episode, they do not confirm to us whether or not this is the fake idol. Which is really interesting because Carolyn says that what she did was mix up, like she put the fake idol where the idol was, but imagine if she actually put the idol where the fake idol she thought she was, and she actually has the fake idol. Like, I know a lot of people have talked about this, but like they haven't explained if that's the case. And so I feel like that might actually be what happens. Like she thinks she has the idol, and it's a fake idol. That'd be interesting if that ends up going down. But Sarah believes it's real. Carolyn's happy to see her plan end up working. We'll see if it actually does. But this was interesting. What did you think of this little segment here?
I thought it was crazy. Like, it's very intense. And then if it ends up working, that's just going to be like pretty insane. And this, honestly, I get what I think Jeff or whoever said about this season. Like, the gameplay, I think that's what he means. Like, the gameplay is just very different.
For sure.
Like, obviously, not the best boot order, but like gameplay-wise, it's so good. And top tier, cracked, all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Heading into the reward challenge. All of the tribes come out for a reward challenge. One player at a time will climb up a ladder across the cargo net to the top of the tower, where they will launch sandbags at a series of targets. Each player must hit at least one target, and the first two will win a reward of a tarp. Someone from each tribe will also be chosen to go on a journey that could possibly change the game. Franny sits out for Sokka, Kane sits out for Ratu. Ultimately, Sokka ends up winning the large tarp, with Ratu winning a smaller tarp. They
Yeah,
then
this was an interesting reward challenge. I feel like every is it me or like every episode 4 of Survivor they do a reward challenge. Like I don't know if it's just like part of the meta, but it
I
feels
think
like
it's
that's
just
something
like
that happens.
sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just include reward with the immunity.
I don't know. All the seasons we've seen, I feel like every episode 4, it's like they do a reward and they do an immunity. So I wasn't too surprised to see a reward here. So maybe change it up, Survivor. That's what I'm saying.
And then they select Carson, Jamie, and Josh to go on the journey.
Yeah, which we always see like the journey summit, whatever you want to call it, but this is very different what we get this time around.
It's so good. I love it.
So basically, Jamie is very pumped to go on the journey and is happy to have Josh and Carson because she's had her eyes on them during challenges of people she could work with in the future. My only issue with this segment, and I don't know if you agree with me, we don't get to see these three bond like at all. It really cuts from they have moments to get to know each other and then, okay, go off on your own. Like we didn't even get to see any interaction between them. And that was disappointing to me because that's what I've actually really enjoyed about these like journey segments is that we get to see like potential bonds that are going to form at the merge. Like I always think
potential alliances.
I always go back to Owen and Noelle last season, like how they formed a bond pretty early on, and that actually ended up being like one of the closer duos of the game.
So good.
Like I always think of that, and I think the fact that we didn't get to see that here was a bit of a disservice. I would have liked to see these three interacting a bit, but unfortunately, we don't get that here.
I know. I wanted to see that because then that would have been cool as well.
What we do get is pretty fucking nuts. I will say that. Not really something I think we've done before. They're each told to pick a path, and then seemingly just out of nowhere, they have an idol, like literally out of thin air. And I will say, at first, I fucking hated this. I was like, no, you don't just give somebody an idol like that. But I do like the fact that this idol is only good until pre-merge. Like it basically forces you to think, am I good enough to where I can navigate the pre-merge and not have to play this idol, or should I just get rid of it right away? I really like that idea that like you have this idol, but you only have it for like a very limited amount of time. Like it really changes up how you use an idol in a game. Cause like, I'm sure a lot of people are always like, I'm going to use this idol only for a limited amount. I'm going to try to not use this idol as long as I can, but you can't really do that in this case because you only have like a few weeks to play it. Like, what do you think of this, that they only can use it for the pre-merge?
I think it's like, honestly, it's a good way to see if they can like just stay not targets, like they can work their social game and not use it, or they actually have to use it soon, or maybe right before merge. It's definitely like pretty insane. It's really, I think it's just pretty cool. Like it's just a different kind of power, and I like how they did that this season.
Yeah, I thought it was cool to see. Like I know people think that it's a little too like overpowered, but I think the fact that for me at least that it's only for a few rounds reduces its power. Like it's not as strong because of that. And I
don't think it's overpowered at all.
Yeah, I really don't either. I think it's just enough of a little twist in there. There's a little wrinkle to kind of like just make things a little bit more exciting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm fine with it, honestly. Jamie's shocked that she now has two idols, although she really only has one, which is still really funny.
It's so funny.
Carson is very worried he's now going to be at the bottom of a new tribe. Josh, and so they're very worried that this is going to happen. Oh, I forgot to talk about the other part of this twist. What the fuck? We see that in addition to them getting this new idol, they also will not be returning to their tribe, they're told. And that each of them are going to have to pick a new buff at random. I love the fact that this was randomized. I like that they didn't get to select like the tribe they wanted to go to and things like that. I think it was good. Again, to me, I thought this was a pretty fair twist. It was randomized. They didn't have a say in where they got to go. And so there's no way to game this in any way. And now they basically, Survivor's a game about adaptability. It's all about having to face different, trials and tribulations. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like this is important. And people have been wanting like a swap, and we don't get a full swap, but I thought this was pretty cool what they did here.
I thought it was like a very unique way, and it was just like a really cool idea. They're trying out different things.
Mhm.
I love this so much.
And I do think for these three in particular, I'm glad that these three end up getting it, because I think Josh especially really benefits from this. Jamie is the biggest question mark to me. I don't know how she's
Same.
going to fare
Mhm.
in this
Honestly,
situation.
I could also sort of see like Jamie teaming up with like Heidi, Josh, and Danny to get out like the couple or
Yeah,
like
so let's talk about, well, I haven't talked about the new tribe dynamic spoilers, but we're going to do that
spoiler.
right now.
Oops.
Basically, um, basically, we see Josh shows up at Tika, which everyone is very shocked about. Jam Jam is sad that his relation with Carson is no more, and Josh knows that he's likely walking into a lion's den. And yeah, I mean, this really changes things up for Jam Jam, because now he kind of has to be loyal to Carolyn, but also like he
Yeah,
was really good with that 3, and now that kind of changes things up. I think this Josh probably benefits the most from this out of the 3.
I think so
What
too.
do you think?
Yeah, I honestly think so too, because um, Jamie's definitely a wild card.
Oh yeah.
But I could also see her figuring out something.
Yeah.
And then Carson, I don't know. I feel like Carson. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Carson. There's some people that he definitely would align with, like what I said earlier.
Yeah, things do not start off very well for Josh here, because he's taking the time to like interject himself, but he doesn't mention to introduce himself, but he doesn't mention like anything. He keeps it very vague with like what he does, and he doesn't mention anything about being a surgeon in fear of it blowing up his game, which I don't think he needed to keep this from them. I don't think it was
Yeah,
really that big of a deal.
not really. No.
Because again, like, if this was like his starting tribe, I get it, but like this is a tribe he's not going to be on for that long anyway. So it's like just like go ahead and just tell them, like, I don't think these
Yeah.
people are going to go for him because he's a surgeon. Like, I just don't think that's going to
No.
happen.
Like really.
Like, there's other reasons to target somebody. Being a surgeon is not one of them.
No.
So Jam Jam and Sarah see through it like immediately. They think he's a
Yeah.
surgeon. His timeline of events doesn't add up. So this really backfires for Josh like significantly.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't really understand why he felt the need to do this. But Carson is now on Ratu. His plan is to make it seem like Jam Jam is running Tika to decrease his threat level, which I thought this was brilliant the way he did this, because
Oh,
it
so good.
completely exonerates himself of anything he did on that tribe. And especially if like him and Jam Jam get to merge, I'm very interested to see that dynamic, because Jam Jam sees him as his
Yeah.
number 1, and Carson just low key threw him under the bus. So
Yeah, I also like I said, like I said before, I feel like Carson and Kane are gonna team up.
yeah, I could very well see that. But the biggest development I would say here is that Matthew really takes this time to let Carson know about Brandon's idol, and that Jamie has it. And again, just
So
solidifying the fact
good.
that Matthew is like the king of the castle right now. Like, he is
Yep.
very much like running the show on this
Oh
tribe. And I think this is what you do when you have someone new on your tribe. Like, you take them under your wing, you give
yeah.
them the information, because what are they going to do with this information? They don't know these people. Like, they don't really have any relationships. Like, what are they going to do with it? So
I
I think it was
know.
really good for him to get to Carson when he did, and I'm very interested in seeing this dynamic in particular.
Oh, me too. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so I thought it was really good that Matthew did that. For new Sokka, we see Jamie is now on Sokka, but she doesn't know what to expect, but feels that she has a lot of power coming in with 2 idols, which, well, does she know? She only has 1, but again, it's really funny whenever she brings that up. Franny is very excited to have Jamie, but is disappointed that the one person they felt the least comfortable with is now gone, because all of them were like collectively wanting to vote Josh out. However,
Yep.
they also know that she has an immunio, because Jamie just tells them right up front that she has it, which, I mean, honestly, I feel like that's like, just go ahead and tell people, like, hey, I have this
Yeah.
idol. I'm just gonna play it whenever. Like,
But
you
now
can't
that
really
she's like
out.
new to the tribe, it makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like some people like try to skate around that. And I don't really see the point. Like, you just tell them it's not a big deal. It's only till pre-merge anyway. So Danny is then hoping that they can just vote her out if she doesn't have it. So he takes the time to rummage through her bag, but finds absolutely nothing.
So funny.
So didn't go great for Danny here. Again, though, I really don't know how Jamie's going to do on this tribe. I feel like her and
I mean,
Franny seem to have a bit of a bond. I hope
like
that
I said before, I also kind of see her like teaming up with like Danny, Heidi, and who else am I missing?
I don't know.
Danny and Heidi to go for
Yeah,
like
there's only 5 of them, so
to go for the showmans in a way, but we'll see. But go on.
maybe. But I could also see, I think what Franny needs to do here is like the relationship that Claire wanted to have with Franny, I think she needs to have with Jamie. And I think that
She
is
does.
going to help her out because if they do end up targeting Matt, she at least has Franny. Because honestly, when Matt goes, I
Mhm.
don't know who Franny really has at this point.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that if she strikes up something with Jamie here, I think it could really end up working out for her. But we'll see if
I
that
hope
actually
so, right?
happens
Yeah.
because we really don't get to see a lot of that whole dynamic. But I like this twist a lot. I think it
Me
keeps things
too.
fresh and exciting. I understand some people don't like it because it's kind of unfair. You can easily go for like the person you're least connected to, but I feel like with how messy and cracked like a lot of these people are, it doesn't seem like that's going to happen this season. So I think we're going to have some interesting dynamics, specifically with Matthew and Carson. I'm very excited to see how that plays out in the coming weeks. So, all right, I've talked a lot. I want you to do some talking. So go
Are you
ahead, talk
sure?
about the immunity challenge.
Okay. For this immunity challenge, they will dive into an ocean one person at a time, then climb to a tall tower. They will then leap off of it while grabbing a key, and they will then cross a floating balance beam and race to the finish. Then the next person goes. Once all 4 players are at the end of Once all 4 players are at the end, 2 players will use the keys to unlock and solve a Mama Ray puzzle. Jamie sits out for Sokka and Matthew sits out for Ratu. But in a very tight race, Sokka has won immunity, followed by Ratu sending Tika to tribal council.
Yeah, this was an interesting challenge, I thought, the way this played out.
It was, yeah.
Matthew sitting out for Ratu was interesting. Jamie sitting out for Sokka, I don't know if that was the best move. She was just like, I'll take one for the team, but like,
Yeah.
considering that Sokka's like obsessed with tribe strength, I don't think that would have gone well for Jamie. So yeah, Ratu goes to Tika, unfortunately goes to tribal here. I say unfortunately because I love this tribe. Like, this is the most
Me
I've said it before.
too.
Tika is this season, and this episode proves as to why. And it sucks to see them go here.
It's so iconic.
Not iconic that they're going to tribal, but yeah.
Well, not that, but the tribe, I meant. They're just so entertaining.
Oh yeah, for me, like, they are the entertainment this season.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the whole cast are.
Yes, but I feel like, for me at least, I'm most invested in Tika.
Same. Jam Jam tells Sarah he wants to keep the 3 of them strong, and she agrees Josh needs to go first. Carolyn is annoyed at how he's acting. Sarah tells Josh they want to play with him, and Jam Jam brings up how Sarah tells Josh they want to play with him, and Jam Jam brings up how big of a threat Carolyn is.
Just throws her right under the bus. I was like, oh my god, this lady's supposed to be your number one. Like, what are you doing?
He's like so done with her now.
Yeah, I was shocked at Jam Jam. Like, I was not expecting him to be this like savage of a player, but he goes right for it, and I was kind of here for it.
Maybe for the duo thing, he was just like using her for the first couple rounds, and now he's like, nah.
Oh, I could have very much seen that.
Sarah tells Josh they want to play with him. Oh, sorry, I just read that. They want to make him feel comfortable so he doesn't play his idol, but Sarah plans to play hers in the event he does. Josh is not feeling trustworthy towards anyone and just wants to make it to the merge. Josh talks to
Yeah.
Carolyn and tells her that they are coming for her, and he brings up that they would need to get Sarah out. She knows she will lose Jam Jam if she does this, but doesn't feel good with them right now.
I thought this was a great play by Josh with him going right to Carolyn, like him realizing like where the dynamic, because this is what you need to do when you get onto a new tribe. You find where the cracks are, you try to turn those people against each other, and it's usually really hard to do because like it's a very like kumbaya tribe. But I feel like Josh found the right crack, and it is Jam Jam and Carolyn. Like, yes, those two are a duo, but when Carson's not there, they're not as strongly tied to each other. And Josh recognized this, and I think he really put in some great work here that I honestly think is going to take him very far.
Oh, I think so too. He's actually doing very well this tribe.
Yeah, like I honestly think this is exactly what Josh needed, and I think he's going to go pretty far because of it.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
Again, he also is just so fucking fluid, and I think it's I love seeing it. It's very entertaining to watch.
Oh yeah. Carolyn is feeling like she is being dictated into what to do and is unsure what to do between Josh and Sarah.
Yeah, I really didn't know what was going to happen this vote because you have Josh's name being thrown out, you have Sarah's name out, you have Carolyn's name out. The only person's name not thrown out is Jam Jam, and I literally thought we were going to get a Jam Jam blindside. Like I thought
honestly, I wanted them to just go to Rocks. That'd be iconic.
Well, I don't think they can go to Rocks because if Carolyn plays her idol and
if all of them voted for each other,
that would have been interesting.
1-1.
That would have been interesting, but I feel like there was like no scenario in which an idol was not being played here. So yeah, let's talk about this tribal because this is easily like one of the most entertaining tribals. This season is just really delivering in terms of,
or maybe not to Rocks, maybe just to tie 1-1-1-1.
Yeah, this season is really delivering in terms of like entertaining tribals, and this was definitely no exception. We see Jeff asked Josh how he feels on this tribe. Sarah mentions that he has 4 people on another tribe, and that could be very valuable to them on another tribe. So Sarah just like really wants Josh out. She's like, listen, he has connections that we don't. We need to just go for him immediately. So Jam Jam brings up that there's a new kid in a classroom and has a friend, but doesn't want to be her friend anymore. And Carolyn takes like massive offense to this, thinking that he's talking about
know. Her. She's so pissed at him.
Yeah. And so Sarah tries to cover it up and says like, oh, well, no, this could be any of us. But Carolyn like sees right through this. She's like, no, you're talking about me. It is fairly obvious. Like you're not, I know exactly what you're trying to do here. So Josh wonders if this is all just a charade to knock him off his game. That would have been funny if like they did like a fake fight just to like get Josh comfortable.
Oh, that'd be so funny.
And then they're like, no, I love all you guys. That would have been if that happened. I wouldn't have liked it because like I kind of wanted Josh to survive because I liked what he was doing. But it would have been funny if that was the case.
That would have been.
So Carolyn's also unsure if this is all an act or not really understanding what is going on. Which we love to see, just everyone being so like confused as to what the vote's going to be. It's much better than last season where there were just a ton of unanimous votes and it was really boring. So basically Josh feels that he has said everything that he's needed to say, and everyone then goes to vote. And before the vote, I didn't know what was going to happen here. Like there were a lot of possible variables here. We had Sarah with a fake idol that she could have potentially played, and that would have been funny because it's a fake idol. We had Carolyn playing her idol. We had, and then we had Josh with his idol. So I didn't really know what was going to happen. I just knew something was probably going to get played. And then also Sarah's like inheritance advantage.
I know if she actually used that.
Well, she would have, I'm still confused. Like if she would have used it this tribal or like how that would have played out, but I guess, I don't know. We'll never know. Yeah, so before the vote, Josh goes ahead, plays his idol on himself. Sarah looks like she's about to play something. I literally thought she was about to play her idol, but she doesn't. So
her fake idol.
Yeah, we get to, well, potentially, again, we don't know if it's the real one or the fake one because they didn't really confirm. So so the votes are read, and by a vote of 2-2, Sarah is the next person voted out here. Obviously, 2 votes are negated, and Sarah ends up going out. I do want to point out something interesting that I don't think...
Also, Jam Jam was very shocked when she left.
Well, here's the thing. Jam Jam didn't vote out Sarah or Carolyn. Jam Jam voted for Josh, which I don't think people are going to realize. I feel like Josh has firmly like pitted these two against each other, and I'm very interested in seeing how that dynamic is going to go.
Me too. He's stuck with Sarah.
Yeah, I will say Sarah going here is sad, but for me, it's like out of the four, I'm the most okay with her going because the other three were just really like entertaining to watch. The only thing that sucks is like we'll never get to see how that inheritance advantage was going to play.
I
So
know, and she was like, also like I had so much potential for her after the
yeah,
first episode. I thought she was gonna do really well.
yeah, I did too. I think her losing Helen just really ended up hurting her. She didn't really
Yeah.
have, I think really her only avenue was Carson. And I think with Carson gone, there wasn't anything Sarah could have done to really save herself here.
Yeah.
So it sucks to see her go, but I'm honestly with how Josh played, like I'm happier he stayed than her. And it also should be noted, this is the first all LGBTQ tribe in
I
Survivor.
know, it's so
I think that's
cool.
really cool that we got to see that. And I think that
It's amazing.
yeah, that whole dynamic is going to be really interesting to watch. Like again, just
Yeah.
because we see in a trailer like Jam Jam's like really calling out Carolyn for this, so I feel like we're going to see those two like gun ho for each other, and Josh is kind of chilling at this point. I feel like he's probably in the best spot now, which is interesting.
If they have to go back to tribal, it's going to be Carolyn or Jam Jam.
Yeah, and I don't know which it's gonna be. I'm hoping it's not Carolyn, but I'm also hoping it's not Jam Jam because I love both of them.
I know,
So
me too.
honestly, like, don't go to tribal, Tika. Like, just you're fine till merge. You're fine till merge. Like, do whatever you can to win a game. You're fine.
Also, Sarah says she kept telling herself not to worry and held on.
Oh yeah, we gotta bring that part.
And held on to the idol and didn't think Josh would vote for her, which was stupid, and it feels miserable to not using it, joining a club of people who didn't, and she got played.
Yeah, I got so carried away. I forgot to read the little retrospective. But yeah,
okay.
This was funny again because we don't actually know if this was a real idol or not. I wish I saw people on Twitter saying like Sarah's reaction when she finds out her idol was actually fake. Like what? Like if she didn't even know, like at the end of the season, and she's watching the episode, she's like, "Wait, that was a fake idol." Like imagine her reaction.
So
yeah. Again, I'm fine with the fake idols. I will say, I think
they cause paranoia, which is interesting.
They cause paranoia. I think I'd like it a little bit more if there were less of them. Like if we just had Jamie's, I think that would have been funny. But we have Jamie's, we have Matt's, we have Sarah's now. I kind of would have just preferred it if it was Jamie's, but I do think Sarah thinking that she had an idol and not playing that idol on herself is honestly really iconic because like, that's not something that normally happens. Like if you have an idol, it's just an idol, but that's not what happened here. So yeah, very cracked episode, I would say. Not a normal Survivor episode in any way, but I'm very excited to see these dynamics play out and really what's going to end up happening. Because I think we only have like what 2 episodes until merge.
I think so, 2 or 3. 2.
Yeah, and if I had to guess, I feel like if Sokka goes to tribal, that is the biggest question mark for me. I don't know who's going to go there.
I don't either. I don't think it's going to be Danny.
I don't think it'd be Jamie either. I think Jamie is not in the worst spot. People know she has the idol, and she's not going to. They're not going to want to vote for her because of it, unless Danny comes up with something where it's like, oh, she doesn't actually have an idol. But we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure.
Tika again. I don't know
who do you think would go from Ratu.
Ratu. Right now, I still think Kane goes. I do.
I don't know. I also Lauren's not in the best spot either.
She's not, but I do. That's honestly, yeah. Lauren might be in a bad spot.
She has an extra vote, but unless she can figure out something.
From the way
I don't know. I also feel like it could be like I don't know, maybe Brandon.
From the way the show portrayed it with Lauren, it seemed like she was closest with Jamie and like they had like a real like close bond. So I think her losing Jamie isn't going to be great for her. But something just tells me like Brandon going for Kane and like because we saw that in episode 2. He talked about how he's like, you know, I will get revenge on Kane for this. Like I still think that Kane is not going to be in the greatest spot. So we'll see. Either way, I think Matthew and Carson like control that tribe with what Matthew just told him. So we'll see how that goes. Tika, again, hopefully no one. Like, that's my answer. Hopefully no one. I don't want to see them go back to Trimal. But we'll see what happens.
We will see.
But yeah, either way, honestly loving the season. Like, generally, I think this is a great season so far. Yes, the boot order has not been ideal, but if I'm being honest, I generally like everyone on this cast. So if anyone goes, it's going to be sad to see them go. And I feel like we're going to be saying that literally every single week. And I feel like that's just a testament to how good this cast is so far. Because I think I can say there isn't a single person on this cast I dislike. I enjoy watching everybody, and I hope that continues to be the case. I will say, I am a little bit worried for the king of the tribe, Matthew, in the next episode, because they do bring up how like he's like really tired, and I hope nothing happens to him because of that. But we'll have to.
I hope he's okay.
Yeah, because I know like he hurt his foot like early on in the season, but it's like he had recovered from that. But we'll see what happens. Also broke his arm. Yeah,
maybe he's just like really sleepy, like really tired because of what happened. But like we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully it's just that. But we'll see. But anything you want to say? Anything you want to say about this before we wrap things up here?
I'm just really excited for the next episode. And like I honestly, I think every boot's gonna be sad just because this house is so good.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited for it, and also stay tuned for BB Can. We're gonna cover last week's pretty soon, and I'm excited to cover more of Survivor and BB Can, and then the rest of our other shows.
Yeah, we are going to be covering a bunch of other stuff eventually. So, look forward to that. We'll definitely keep you guys updated. We're trying to be a lot more consistent with this podcast, as we say every single week. So hopefully we're able to continue doing that.
We're just trying to get back on track.
Yeah, we are. But that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And remember, couples who podcast together, stay together. We will see you guys later.